This is the Rich Dad Radio Show. The good news and bad news about money. Here's Robert Kiyosaki.
Hello. Robert Kiyosaki, the Rich Dad Radio Show. The good news and bad news about money. And today we have one of our most popular guests coming back here, Gerald Celente. And I'm going to give him an unbiased plug for his unbelievable product, the Trends Journal. And I'm saying to him and I must be psychic or, like twins with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito. We're connected at the hip because the title of this week's Trends Journal, which I highly recommend everybody getting, is Stay Stupid. And I was, you know how, Gerald, you can't tell jokes anymore. So anyway, I have to do it secretly. So the Trends Journal is Stay Stupid, Stay in the Mainstream. And I agree 100%. Everybody, you've got to get Gerald Celente's The Trend Journal because I look forward to it for entertainment value, but also enlightenment value. Welcome to the Rich Dad Show, Gerald.
Thank you so much for having me on.
How do you get so much information packed in that little thing, that journal?
I've never worked harder in my life, and I have a good team. We're doing the very best we can because these are the most crucial times of my life. We're both not kids, If you haven't been there, don't tell me what it was. Yeah. And I know what it was, and I know what it is, and I see where it's going. I remember, when I was a kid, I was 18 years old. I had a Beretta. Nobody in school would blow, a baby boom generation. First ones born 1946 to 40, 50 kids in my class. Baby boom. I don't think you're allowed to say that one anymore either.
Oh, no.
Yeah. They're doing that in the UK. And anyway, you didn't go through a metal detector. Yeah. You didn't have guards around. Kids weren't shooting each other. Yeah. You're talking about the way we grew up. Yeah, there were neighborhoods you didn't go into. They were tough. Yeah. But you didn't have to worry about every day, Starbucks just closed down, 11 places because of the people out of their minds. Yep. Look what's happened to society. And you said that woman that plays the law professor.
Plays? I think she is a law professor.
And you said, how could anybody with a mind like that? Look at the clowns running our world.
Well, she entered the twilight zone beyond stupid. I didn't think it existed, but I now know it does exist.
But who's your favorite president? Who's your favorite chancellor? Who's your favorite prime minister? That great artist we have for the Trends Journal, Anthony Frieda, that does these covers. If I said to him, listen, Anthony, I want you to come up with a guy that we can make the biggest clown you could ever look at, and we'll make him the prime minister of the UK. We'll call him Boris Johnson. You couldn't come up with a freakier freak.
No. And how about Biden and Kamala? Oh my God! And I'm not Republican or Democrat. Trump is my friend, but I support the freedom of choice of who we want to vote for. That's all it is. I'm not Republican or Democrat. Just want freedom. But I was talking to this young woman. I said JFK. She never heard of him. Yeah. She didn't know who JFK was. I said he was a president. Really? I can't believe how stupid the kids are. I mean, not that they're stupid, they're misinformed. They're coming out of school so misinformed or underinformed. Those old saying that we used to have as a kid, milk, more information, less knowledge. I mean, that applies to what's happening in schools today. I can't believe it.
Well, think about it. I think it cost about $186,000 to educate a person. I shouldn't say educate him, to put into a government system from kindergarten to 12th grade. So now you're spending all that money, and what do? They get a job working at Walmart, getting a job driving a UPS or a Amazon truck. What do? They work at Home Depot. Where do they? Why did you send them to school all these years if this is the career they're going to have?
And you can't hurt their feelings. You have to give everybody a trophy.
They hated school probably. That's why they had their jobs there. I hated every day of school.
Me too.
I got left back in the 5th grade, ran away from kindergarten, barely got out of high school. I'm just saying the system, by their deeds you shall know them. We're spending almost $200,000 to educate somebody. You didn't have to go to school to work at these jobs.
So let me ask you this question, okay? So this, like I said, where it must be psychic, because I'm tweeting about how can somebody go beyond stupid? But like Rod Serling in the Twilight Zone said, when we were kids, you entered a whole nother zone of stupidity. And so the trends journal is stay stupid, stay in the mainstream. What did you mean by that? Or what is this trends journal about?
Well, that's the Trends Journal is about. We tell people what in the world is going on, what it means, what's next, and what to do. And of course, the motto is think for yourself. You don't have to do what we tell you to do. But the mainstream, all it is it's constant propaganda.
Yep.
And they never stop. And they're rookies. And by the way, I used to be on Oprah, the Today Show, Good Morning America, like you are. You're everywhere. You know what the deal is. I mean, you're working for the corporation. Right. And they want you to say what they want you to say, and you got to be in the game. Go back to the Iraq War. The facts are there by fairness and accuracy in reporting. The only people they put on there were pro-war.
Right.
The amount of people that were anti-war were fractional. Oh, and they fired that guy Phil Donahue from MSNBC for coming out against the war. So what you're getting the system, and when it goes back to remember the Maine, the Hearst newspaper with the Spanish American War.
Right.
And you go back to the New York Times. Saddam Hussein, he has them aluminum tubes. Well, we were wrong, but we'll tell that after we told the propaganda.
Okay, so let me read some of the enticing subjects that are in today's Trends Journal. It says here, the New World Disorder, top trend, emerging nations diving into debt default. And did you see last night when Tucker Carlson, they're in Sri Lanka and they're watching the rioting going on because everything is falling apart in Sri Lanka? I'm going, holy man, that's my friend's home.
Wow.
And it's just coming apart. The other thing is the New World Disorder, top trend, Germany rations power as Russia cuts gas supplies. If that's not enough, we want to buy the Trends Journal and read it. Spotlight China. Western investors flock back to China. I thought they were the enemy. Do you know in Vietnam, I went to Vietnam twice as a Marine pilot. We won the war. But people don't know that we stopped Chinese communism in Vietnam. But what did they report? None of that. I remember watching Walter Cronkite on TV, and I know he's fed the news. But what he reported about the battles we fought in wasn't true. Didn't happen. But they show My Lai massacre. They show all the atrocities that the American troops caused. And then I come back. I land at Norton Air Force Base in 1972. I'm getting off the plane. I'm hit by eggs, spit on, called baby killer. All these hippies from the Woodstock generation just crucifying us. That's because of the news. And so that's why the Trends Journal, you got to read the stuff, because Gerald and his team go all out. I mean, we look forward to what you're saying.
Thank you.
Because I want to stay away from MSNBC, and I'm in the markets all the time. We call it CNBS. I mean, holy mackerel. Buy the dip, the Fed's on your dome. Don't fight the Fed. I'm going, holy mackerel. And we're sliding into the biggest crash in history. And I am on record here. This is my book, Rich Dad's Prophecy, why the biggest stock market crash in history is still coming, and how you can prepare yourself and profit from it. So I'm going to get extremely rich because of the Trends Journal and things I'm reading. I said, okay, I'm ahead of the curve. But what about the baby boomers, Gerald? My generation, your generation, we're the first generation with a 401k. I think less than 50% have $100,000 in their 401k, and it's been cut in half to a 101k right now, a 0.25%. What's going to happen to them, Gerald?
Yeah, you noted it with your book. Your new book says it all. We are into the worst financial crisis and geopolitical crisis, socioeconomic crisis in the history of the world.
Of the world. America's the biggest debtor nation in the world right now. And all we do is keep blowing bubbles up, and the bubble has met the pin. It's going to pop. It's popping.
And now, with them raising interest rates, inflation continue to skyrocket. What the COVID war did is unprecedented. It's incalculable, the damage it's done. It killed the lives and livelihoods of billions of people.
Right.
You mentioned about what's going on in Sri Lanka. How about exactly what you said? You know, it's the new world disorder. It's going on all over. Yep. When people lose everything and they have nothing left to lose, they lose it. And they've lost everything. Look at all the businesses just in America that have gone out of business. What, a third of the dry cleaners? Gone. What's office occupancy rate? Depending on what you look at in the metro areas, it's around 40%. You mean it's 60% lower? Oh, no more happy hours. Oh, don't have to, again, go to the dry cleaners. I'm working from home now. Oh, all the delicatessens, all of the businesses that used to depend on commuters, gone. Gone.
So that's why, ladies and gentlemen, the Trends Journal is essential, because you've got to stay abreast of what's happening and don't depend upon mainstream news. I remember, Gerald, I'm a Marine pilot in Vietnam. We just got hammered. We hammered back at a place called Quang Tri. There was we pounded them. We pounded the Chinese communists. And what does Walter Cronkite report? All our atrocities. And there were atrocities, but they were on both sides. It was fake news, exactly as Donald Trump says. And so that's why the Trends Journal, and that's why I wrote this book here, Rich Dad's Prophecy. I got attacked by these stock market guys. I won't mention their name because they're pretty famous. How can you be so negative? I said, well, how can you be so dysfunctional, you idiot? I mean, do you think stock markets always keep going up? Oh, yes, they do. The Fed's got your back. I said, you're an idiot. You're an idiot. How can people be that stupid, Gerald?
Well, my father, may he rest in peace, used to say to me when I get upset, he says, son, take it easy. He said, people have little minds. Everybody knows their favorite baseball team, all the players, every team, everything about them. I loved that when I was a young guy. But, you grow out of that and start putting your mind in another direction, and they're not doing it. Yeah, I mean, again, they're listening to the mainstream. They get they live by sound bites. They're not doing the research to find out the details of what's going on. And you talked about the Chinese communists. How about bringing China into the World Trade Organization by Bill Clinton? Oh, and they came in two weeks officially after 9/11 when nobody was looking. And you look at China's GDP, like from 1970 and then 2001, a straight line up. Oh, and all our jobs that went over to communist China. Oh, the communist China that we used to make fun of, where the people wore masks and they could lock down anything they wanted to do and tell you what to do. Oh, and we're going to follow that path. I'm the mayor. I'm the governor. I'm the senator. We're going to lock you down. The Chinese way, you must obey. Welcome to America.
Right. And I tell you, Gerald, I'm going to repeat myself. The worst thing was watching the Walter Cronkite on the CBS Evening News. We just got our asses pounded. We fought back. And what they reported wasn't the truth. I mean, I was there. I saw it with my own eyes, We lost so many men, good men.
50.
And, so I go to the Vietnam Wall. I want to cry, but I'm dead inside because we didn't have to die for that. We didn't fight for this. We fought for our freedom, the freedom of speech, the freedom to carry guns, the freedom to vote for who we want, the freedom of religion. That's what we fought for. And it's gone. It's gone. I'm afraid to say anything. I have to kind of call people. I'm afraid of texting because somebody's going to hack my text.
Wow.
Anyway, I want to get back. I want you to go into what you see coming up. I've never seen such cartoons in my life. What happened to Boris Johnson? The Prime Minister. How did we get this clown Biden in there? Where did that guy pop out of? I can't believe this.
The people that are running our lives, they're mentally ill. They're pathological liars. They can lie perfectly. They're sociopaths and psychopaths. And nobody wants to call a spade a spade.
Please subscribe to the Trends Journal, and you've got to get the news straight. That is the most important thing you can do today. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Robert Kiyosaki, the Rich Dad Radio Show, the good news and bad news about money. Our guest today is a very popular guest, Gerald Celente. I strongly recommend, our company looks forward to receiving the Trends Journal because, as I said, one of the saddest things about being a Marine pilot in Vietnam, the battles we fought in, we won, but we were reported as losers by the press. And there was nothing more depressing than to come back home in 72 and get spit on. It's a horrible, horrible way to live. And of course, I read this book here in 1965. I was in school in New York. And the economics teacher says, well, you're not going to read Malthus or what's his name? Anyway, the regular economists, you're going to read Marx. I said, why? He says, because that's the enemy. And I went, holy mackerel. So I was just in New York last week. Took a company public on the New York Stock Exchange. The goal of every red-blooded entrepreneur, free capitalist entrepreneur, stand on the stage and clap as your company goes public and you get rich. And then we flew directly from there to Provo, Utah, went down 625 feet. We did a show from inside the mine, the deepest podcast in history, but only in America can you do that. And then we flew home. That was in one day. And that morning I was walking around, the Upper East Side where I grew up. I love New York City, And I was saying to Gerald, I was at Chompy's Jewish delicatessen having a, what do you call those things, on rye, pastrami on rye. I thought I was in heaven. But all that because of New York. So we have Gerald, his dear friend with the same vintage here, and his product is the Trends Journal. So Gerald, what is on your mind today with the Trends Journal? You tell us what's going on with you.
Well, the big issue is inflation. And again, the economy was artificially injected with all this monetary methadone to keep the money junkies high. Everything should have crashed in 2020 when they locked down most of the country and most of the world.
Right.
And it's just artificially boosted up with record low interest rates and countless trillions of dollars pumped in by the government. And now with inflation, and they kept lying about it or being stupid, whatever you want to decide. First it was temporary and then it was transitory. They lied about it. You're looking at the EU with 8.6% in inflation rate and negative interest rates minus a 0.50. And the United States, where you have the inflation rate just came in at 9.1. And it was temporary and transitory. So they're going to keep raising rates. The higher rates go, the deeper the economy goes, the deeper the markets go. End of story. And you're looking what happened over in Canada. Recently, they just raised rates 1%. Oh, and that clown over there playing as central banks to was BSing too, that he didn't expect inflation to go this high.
So John, let me throw you two curveballs because this kind of disturbs me. What happened to Boris Johnson and then what happened to Kazuhisa Abe? For the Japanese to assassinate somebody, that's more American than Japanese. And then, so what I heard was that Abe was protecting ivermectin or something. He refused to play along with Big Pharma. That's what I was told. I don't know if you heard anything like that.
I don't know.
And Boris Johnson, what happened to him? And then how do we get this guy Biden in here? What's going on?
Again, it's a freak show. Look at them. You can't get a better cartoon character than Boris Johnson. The guy kept lying all the time, locking down everybody while he's partying, getting caught one lie after another. And that's what they all do, by the way. When they all get caught for these lies, like that guy Gavin Newsom, now going to be, they were talking about running as the Democratic challenger against Biden for 2024. This guy's partying up in Napa Valley,
the French
and
Laundry,
locking down everybody. And then when they get caught, they say, I'm really sorry. I apologize. Well, you're sorry you got caught. You apologize for nothing. It's a freak show. We have mentally ill people running and ruining our lives.
How about Joe Biden calling Latinos tacos?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Can you imagine that?
How about what Mickey Mouse said to Donald Duck? I mean, that's what we're talking about here.
Everybody, you've got to get the Trends Journal if you want to. I look forward to it. It's a lot. I don't know how you guys pump out so much stuff that is what's on my mind anyway, unless you're addicted to mainstream media, CNN, MSNBC, CBS. Why is this happening, Gerald? Please tell me.
Well, again, I was talking about Bill Clinton. You know, that guy destroyed this country in so many ways more than others. And again, you know, with the bringing NAFTA, taking our jobs to Mexico for cheap labor, and then bringing China into the World Trade Organization. Now let's go to the media. He's the guy that deregulated it. The Federal Communications Act, I believe, was 1996.
Clinton did that?
Oh yeah. And there were thousands of little radio stations back then and loads of media everywhere. And now the bigs, what is it? 5 companies own 92% of the media. And they're the big corporations. And you look at the facts. You listen to the Murdoch son over there. And he said, we're in Financial Times quoting him. Oh, this is our market. This is what we put, and this is who we go for. Oh, so they're going for a particular market. We're not going for a particular market. We're putting out information for everybody to use. We're political atheists. We put the facts out. Oh, and by the way, it's the grand total of $2 a week. The paper of record, they call themselves. I call it the toilet paper of record. The New York Times is $3 a day. I read it every day to see what they're saying, to get the mainstream view so I can see where the people are floating into. And there's barely an article I get out of the paper that we can use that has trendworthy value of it. That's how bad it's gone down.
So how much does a Trends Journal cost, and how do they get delivered and all this stuff? So
it's $129 a year, $2 a week. And we send it out. It's a weekly. It averages about 160 pages, no ads, flip book, and you can read what you want. You know, it's a real magazine. You know, there's all information, what in the world is going on socially, politically, socioeconomic. We cover the world from high-tech science to geopolitics to health, fitness, and nutrition.
I don't know how you guys do it, because it's a piece of work twice a week. I mean, twice a month. We really care. You know, there's a great quote. It does not take a majority to prevail, but rather an irate, tireless minority, keen on setting brush fires of freedom in the minds of men, said Samuel Adams. And you and I and the others like us are those people that are putting out the information for we the people. You know, we are that irate, tireless minority. Just give me the facts. Give me the facts. I could think the rest out for myself. Right.
I don't need an official or an authority to tell me how I should understand the socioeconomic, geopolitical, and economic and other facts. Yeah, when it comes to high science and high tech, I'm not the cat, but I could get the other stuff straight.
So how did you get into this business, Gerald? I mean, because it's impressive work. I mean,
thank you.
Bless you for doing it.
It's a long story. I began working on political campaigns in Westchester County. They were grooming me. I became the assistant to the secretary of the New York State Senate. I designed and instructed American politics and campaign technology at St. John's University. I was chief government affairs specialist for the chemical industry back in the 70s.
Oh, okay.
I was on the other side of the fence. I was killing environmental legislation at the height of the environmental movement. Yeah, all I wanted to do was make money, and that was it. And I did. That photographs of me and Ronald Reagan when we put on a brunch for him and 16 of my board of directors. So I've been on the other side. I've been with princes, presidents, and prime ministers. And then I started to realize that it's a rigged game. Where George Carlin said, it's one big club and you ain't in it. So I pulled out of it. And I don't want to be in that club. And I realized that current events form future trends, but all they do is they sell you government propaganda and one stories at a time. So if you only listen to an economist or listen to somebody in one field, opportunity misses those who view the world through the eyes of their profession. So we have a globalnomic perspective. We look at everything that's going on, whether we like it or not. I go to Financial Times. I go to the Global Times, the Chinese Times, the Global Times. I go to the Japanese newspapers. I go to Haaretz, the Israeli. I go to Fars News Agency, the Iranian. I go to Al Jazeera, the Arab. I go to France 24. I go all over the world. I want to learn what everybody is doing. Everybody's saying what their pitch is, get the information, and then I'll figure out where it's going.
Okay, so this is the question I have for you. The issue with the Trends Journal prior to this last one is your headline says this week's is the stupid. And like I said, we've entered a whole new definition of stupid beyond stupid. But this last one is the big lie, Russia will lose. Are you saying the idea that Russia will lose is a lie?
No way they're going to us, we're, again, totally against the invasion. Not my trip. I'm an American. It's not my business. Here, this is the Trends Journal from 2014. Dr. Paul Craig Roberts, former Assistant Treasury Secretary under Reagan, wrote in detail America's coup of the democratically elected government of Viktor Yanukovych, the Ukrainian president. So again, there's a lot of sides to this story. So I understand the why, but I'm totally against the how it happened. So having said that, only looking at the facts, once upon a time, there was a guy by the name of Napoleon Bonaparte. He left Poland with 420,000 troops to attack Moscow, came back with 10,000. There's a famous chart of it. And then once upon a time, not too long ago, there was somebody by the name of Adolf Hitler who launched Operation Barbarossa and killed between 25 million and 30 million Russians. And they were the first ones to defeat Germany, Eastern Germany. That's the one they came in. That's why they took it over. So we don't see them losing. And the only thing that by sending more weapons is it's going to make a bad situation very worse, because what they keep saying is Russia keeps taking over more territory, and now they're up to almost 25% of Ukraine, is that they say, well, we just pulled back. This is a strategic move. I've heard these stories before. So a country of 40 million isn't going to beat a country of 140 million with one of the most advanced militaries, by the way, that they don't talk about, weaponry in the world. They're hypersonic. We're not.
Jeez. So you're saying that people want Russia to lose, but they're not going to lose. That's what you're going for.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why, ladies and gentlemen, please get the Trends Journal, $130 a year, the best investment you could make, because it's the best investment into your mind, and it can change how you look at the world. So we look at it as our company. It's hard to get through because you got so much stuff in there. But everything is interesting. That's the worst part about it. I feel I'm missing if I don't read it. But anyway, I really want to thank you for your contribution to the society at this time. And we're talking about it at our age. I think the blessing we have is we still have a purpose. We have a purpose, I mean, it's good to have something to get up to and feel it makes a difference. So
yeah, they suck the joy out of life with this COVID war and all the other things that they're doing. And we're doing everything we can to bring it back. As I say, I don't know if it was Jesus, Muhammad, or Buddha, but one of them said, you better boogie before the lights go out, because tomorrow is iffy.
Anyway, my friend, thank you very much. Keep up the great work. The Trends Journal, everybody, you've got to get that, because this world is changing way too fast, and you cannot depend upon mainstream media. Thank you, Mr. Celente.
Oh, and thank you, Mr. Kiyosaki, and thank you for all you do and all you give to the people and how many people you've helped over the years. I greatly admire you, and thank you for all that you do.
It gives an old guy like me purpose to get up in the morning. So anyway, we have money. We have enough money. It's not about the money anymore. It's about how do we make it a better world. So thank you, and thank you everybody listening to the Rich Dad Radio Show. Bye. Welcome back, and thank you to Gerald Celente. I'm going to have a little wrap-up with Sarah here, and because she speaks for you if we got too happy talking about the old days in New York. But Sarah, what did you pick up from Gerald?
Well, actually, the biggest thing, which I'll probably leave in for the final production. I think the enlightenment of your generation, his generation, you're screwed. But he really is nervous about those generations that followed you.
Yes,
and
I am too.
Yeah, and I think that's gives me the hope that what we're doing on this show is a small, we are trying to make a huge impact for our listeners and at least bring awareness. And, because this outlook, right now it seems so bad and the light at the end of the tunnel doesn't seem close.
And that's why I was saying, just last week I was in Manhattan, right next to where my uncle and aunt live, Upper East Side. And I had no money, as a kid, 18 years old, going, you just cannot, coming from Hilo, Hawaii, where a high-rise is a 2-story house made out of wood. And everybody's sound asleep, watching TV. And I'm walking in the streets of New York, and you look up and you go, holy mackerel, these were built in the 20s and all this stuff. They've gone through hell, they've gone through depressions, they've gone through this, and they kept fighting on. So take a company public to be clapping on the television screen and saying, that's the height of free market capitalism, and that's what we write for. Now, you don't want to be a free market capitalist? Fine, but just don't take away my choices.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's just been the best. So what else you take away from him?
Well, one thing I want to mention about the Trends Journal is just as Gerald is as fun and energetic on this interview, he writes that way. It is very easy to understand. They sent me the one that published yesterday, this morning, so I was thumbing through it for prep for this show, and it's stuff I can understand. Yeah. And so, I think that's why.
And you're interested in.
Yes. It does make it interesting. It's, there's some out there that are so boring. I'm like, I can't read this. But he keeps it short and simple. Each topic is short and simple and clear. So I really appreciate that about him. And I just, I always love having him on because the energy that he brings is so fun.
Yeah. So I'm telling everybody, I never do it because I know I'm well known, but I don't do it to be famous. It's not the reason I do it. And I was just in New York City like last week, and I'm walking in this little park next to the Four Seasons Hotel. There were 5 people in the park, and 4 knew who I was. I couldn't believe it. I'm going, so there was 2 young women. They work for MTA, Metropolitan Transit Authority. They said, "Thank you for doing what you're doing." I'm going, "Thank you for telling me, Then there's another guy, he was crying. He goes, "What's going to happen to us?" I said, "I don't know, man." Another guy, he was a student at NYU. He says, I switched to finance because of your book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Then I go to the front door of the Four Seasons, and the bellman, or the head guy there, says, "You know what I tell people?" I said, "What?" He says, "I tell people, don't buy Nike shoes, buy Nike stock." I said, "Good for you," and all this. So I'm going, holy mackerel. I'm in New York City. I was walking this neighborhood as a kid. I just kept looking up. The most magnificent buildings. I love that stuff. Then I go to the stock exchange. There's a picture of George Washington there. I'm going, holy mackerel, And I come back to Phoenix, and I'm in this little store, and the woman says, "Rich Dad, what's that?"
So you almost had a full circle moment, and then she ruined it.
Yeah, she goes, "But it really is true." He says, "You cannot be a prophet in your own town."
Yeah.
Nobody knows me here.
And that's why you can walk so freely generally. Yeah. Except at the mall.
Thank God.
Real quick, I want to tease the episode that you did at the mine.
Yeah, you got to check that out. What was that like for you? You saw
I've seen a teaser. They're still editing it together because there was 700 gigs of footage. So this file is massive. So they're still working on it, but they did put together a teaser. And I'm just like, first of all, how lucky are we to have that opportunity, or you? And, I'm so thankful that you really pushed for that idea, because how creative and,
We're 625 feet under the ground.
If anybody else has done that, please let me know, because otherwise I'm going to start saying we are the first and only that's ever done it from the mine.
But you said the quality is unbelievable. Huh?
Oh, their team, the videography team or the media team that they sent along with you, it looks like Hollywood made this teaser. I'll start posting it to your social media so people can see what I'm talking about. It's unbelievable.
So what I say is like, a lifetime happened in a day. So I'm walking in the park in New York City. I ring the bell. We climb on our private jets. We fly to Provo, Utah. We go down 625 feet. I saw one ore sample. Mine is 140 years old. Mm-hmm. I saw one ore sample. It had 1,000 ounces per ton. I took one company public in China. We had 10 ounces per ton, and we thought we struck gold. This mine was so rich, the gold was just hanging on the walls. And I've heard stories like that, but to see it,
Yeah.
But you know what happened? The way these guys found it was they're, of course, really smart dudes, young guys. But they took 140 years of mining records. They digitalized it, and they're able to make it into a 4D presentation so they could see where the gold was. They took 140 years of information, digitalized it, made it so that they could see the picture, and they said they were like 8 feet from the richest. These old guys were just kind of chipping away.
Well, I think Marin mentioned that this was shortly after. I think he brought it to you, or told you about it. He said all they had to do was like turn left.
Yeah,
like they were digging straight or something. The way he described it on that episode, I was like, these guys. But I mean, to have that information, 140 years worth of information. Holy cow! I don't know if that's luck.
No, but from the show in the mine, 625 feet down, it was Kenny McElroy, myself, and these two other guys. I mean, geniuses.
Yeah. And
we said, there's a gold mine right under your feet. Everybody has one.
Yep.
And this mine was sitting there for 140 years, and they just took new technology. They have this new gun. They don't have to send the samples to the ore, the chemical lab. The gun will read the sample on the spot.
Wow.
And that's technology. So there's more opportunity than ever before, but most people are sound asleep.
Yeah. And you talk about that a lot with just a cell phone.
Yeah. Look at the cell phone. My God, you can
do it. You can do anything. You talk about you'll be in South Africa and doing deals in Canada. Like it is true. There's more opportunity.
Yeah.
If you wake up.
Remember, I was in Botswana talking to Marin.
Yeah.
In Canada.
And it was about that deal, wasn't it? Yeah.
He's saying, I got this. I said, okay. I'm sitting in Botswana, Africa. And then the only reason I know what Marin was doing is because I'd already failed so many times in the Chinese coal mine. Yeah. So all the failures paid off with this one deal with Marin.
Yep.
Now it's the richest gold mine in the world. We podcast from 625 feet down. I mean, and then I was walking in the park where I was a kid at 18 years old, thinking, oh my God, how in the world am I ever going to get rich? Look at this place. So I said to the guys, I said, a lifetime happened in a day. From New York City to 625 feet down to the richest gold mine in the world. That's free market capitalism, and that's what we stand for. Thank you for listening to the Rich Dad Radio Show.
Thôi mong chờ vậy sao bật khóc cho ngu ngơ vẫn thế đây bao lâu nay em không hay chỉ một mình anh ngồi khóc nước mắt đây riêng nơi đây em không hay sự thật là anh nhớ em người giờ đã xa lời hẹn ước đâu rồi nước mắt đây rơi biết bao lâu thì khô vẫn thế đây bao đêm say em không hay từng giọt buồn sao mặn đắng nhưng lúc ấy anh loay hoay trong cơn say lại nhầm rằng em ở đây người giờ đổi thay tình mình vẫn đong đầy thế mới biết anh vẫn yêu em thì sao tìm quên chốn xưa ngày ta quen.